Coming up on the Extra Point, we recap WKU's trip to Huntington, West Virginia to take on the Thundering Herd.
And we'll give you the recap on the Lady Tops fight against number 6 ranked Notre Dame coming up.
Extra Point.
Welcome back to this year's final edition of the Extra Point. I'm Temple Ricky here with Katie Cook. Katie, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm super excited for this last go around, so let's get started.
The decade-long debate over paying college athletes is heating up again in the months following the NCAA men's basketball scandal. Reporter Olivia Eiler gathers the View on the Hill.
For years, fans and players have argued that scholarships aren't enough. That sentiment was echoed on the national stage following UConn's win in the 2014 Division I men's basketball championship.
Shabazz Napier, their star player, said after the game that there were a lot of times that he doesn't have any extra money to go buy food, when he's used his meal plans.
Despite concerns, some worry that paying college athletes could have a devastating impact on recruitment.
Recruitment would definitely change. It would maybe even eliminate some sports programs at smaller schools because they wouldn't be able to financially compete in the recruiting market. So
Chisenhall and Heichelbeck propose an alternative solution to paying athletes directly, the Olympic model. Players could market themselves, earning money off their image and likeness and from endorsements.
It would loosen restrictions. Like if a player wanted to sign with Adidas and be endorsed by Adidas, they could do that without it having to be done illegally to where they're actually in trouble with the FBI.
They claim the Olympic model would eliminate the need to fairly distribute the money.
that would solve the issue of finding out who gets what and who deserves more, because it's kind of like a free market for those to kind of profit off themselves.
Former NFL player and college wide receiver coach Terry Obie proposes another model, cost of attendance stipends. In addition to tuition, room, and board, athletes would receive money for transportation and personal or incidental expenses.
Because sometimes when you have extra money, family comes in to play. So guys are like, man, if I just had enough to get by, I'd be okay. But if I had too much, then I have every family members wanting to borrow, want money.
Obie says most schools are currently pursuing this model. He believes the biggest challenge is a stipend source of funding.
The NCAA is making the money. There's enough money that's divided, that's been bowl games and basketball games. There's other things that can be divided to pay these guys extra. But now the model is that the money has to come from the universities. And a small school like Western Kentucky it's very hard to do that, compete, when you're not really operating in a surplus. So it makes it difficult to do that. But if it comes from a different source like the NCAA, that'll make a huge difference and a huge impact.
Regardless of fan and player concern, much debate remains about what, if anything, can be done.
It's tough. I don't know if it'll ever get figured out the perfect way. I don't know if anything will ever change in a major way, but if I'm a college athlete, I'm not happy.
Members of WKU's athletic department declined an interview. For Extra Point, I'm Olivia Eiler.
As the football postseason approaches and some basketball programs enter their seasons with new head coaches, the debate over paying college athletes won't die anytime soon.
The Tops traveled to West Virginia to take on Marshall in the Moonshine Throwdown last Saturday. WKU took an early 7-0 lead on a Mike White touchdown pass to Quinn Jernigan. Marshall took hold of the game early in the second quarter and did not let go. They outscored Western 30-3 in the second and third quarter. The Tops rallied in the fourth quarter on with a pair of Mike White touchdowns, but Marshall held on to win 30-23. This puts Western at 5-5 on the season. The Hilltoppers take on rival MTSU at the Houch tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Both teams come into the game at 5-5 on the season, which makes this a must-win game for both teams if they want to be bowl eligible. This will be the 67th matchup between the two. Middle Tennessee has a slight edge in the series with a 34-31-1 record. Western has been bowl eligible for the past 7 consecutive seasons. And a little fun fact for you, Temple, they actually hold the longest bowl eligibility streak in Conference USA.
Got what we needed to get done to get ready for Middle. 100 miles of hate, it's real. we're excited for that opportunity to play in a fiercely contested rivalry game. It's been a back and forth affair for the last, for a lot of games. I had one game here in 2010 that was a pretty darn good football game.
The Lady Toppers hit the hardwood running in the final game of the Hawkeye Invitational. Senior Ivy Brown led the Tops most of the way with a career high of 31 points before falling to Iowa in overtime 104-97. Now, despite the loss, the Tops put up a record-breaking 14 three-pointers against the Hawkeyes, shooting 53.8% from the arc and 47% from the field, with Ivy Brown being named to the all-tournament team. And the last time WKU's women's basketball team played the Fighting Irish was in 2007, and 10 years later, the two teams are facing off in Diddle Arena. Harrison Volk has more.
WKU women's basketball had the opportunity to host the 6th-ranked team in the nation, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, in an incredible atmosphere in Diddle Arena, with an attendance of 5,061.
Stood up and do the national anthem, and you look around and there was hardly no seats that you could see. It's pretty cool, and I was really happy for our players to be able to be in this type of atmosphere.
Before the game, Coach Hurd thanked Hall of Fame coach Muffet McGraw for giving her team the opportunity to host Notre Dame.
She told me I have a heck of a team, and she said our defense was incredible, and that it was an awesome atmosphere.
The Lady Toppers put in an impressive performance against the 6th-ranked Fighting Irish, but rebounding, inferior defense, and a poor shooting night hurt the Tops. They allowed 22 offensive rebounds, 50 points in the court, and shot 29.7% from the court. All in all, the Tops did set some good performances out of their guards, with Whitney Creech scoring 17 points and Tasia Brown scoring 25. Creech says her team has confidence moving forward.
This is the number 6 team in the country, and, we didn't shoot the ball very well, and we made some mistakes, but we were still in the game the whole time, so I think that's something that we can take from it, that, hey, even when we're not playing too well, we can still compete and still be in games and have a chance to win.
Despite the loss, Coach Hurd is happy that her team is being challenged early in the season.
And this was what it was about when we made this schedule, to see where we're at as a program, and showed us a lot today. It showed us a lot in these past 3 games, and I think we're getting close.
Reporting for The Extra Point, I'm Harrison Volk.
The Lady Tops will be back in action next Friday as they take on Mercer at home.
Switching over to the men's side as they took on Missouri State in their season opener. Missouri State opened the game with a 26-4 run, but Western battled back and cut the lead to 11 by halftime. They continued to rally in the second half, led by Lamonte Bearden's 24 points on his WKU debut. In the end, Missouri State held off Western to win 85-80. Captain Justin Johnson notched his 3rd double-double in 4 games with 11 points and 15 rebounds. Western notched their first game of the season last night in a 30-point win over Kentucky Wesleyan. This game was the definition of a team win for the Tops, as they had 6 players reaching double figures in scoring. Dwight Colby led the Tops with a double-double as he scored 19 points and grabbed 7 offensive rebounds.
I thought we had too many guys that just didn't play with that extra energy. Maybe some guys looking to jump on that loose ball.
He's not crazy. We understand where he's coming from, and we know what he wants, and I feel like we all agree that what we did tonight wasn't good enough, regardless of the score.
Heading into the Conference USA tournament, WKU is welcoming Charlotte to the hardwood. This is the Lady Toppers' first time hosting the championship since joining the conference back in 2014. After splitting regular season titles with North Texas, the Red and White are heading into this weekend as the number 2 seed. And since clutching the 2016 CUSA crown, the Tops became the first team in the league to grab a three-peat as postseason victors, and now their sights are set on adding a 4th title to the prestigious program.
After the break, we will see the Las Vegas Raiders break ground on their new stadium.
And then coming up, the Titans are tearing up their opponents in Tennessee. Find out more.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck.
So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Oakland Raiders' move to Vegas is set to be complete in time for the 2020 NFL season. The groundbreaking ceremony took place earlier this week on the $1.9 billion dome.
Proud to be here with you today. The Raiders, legendary players, so many of them, and of course, the faithful fans of Raider Nations. This is a very significant day in the franchise's storied history and a tangible symbol of the team's future here in Las Vegas.
Just hours before his game on Sunday, 49ers receiver Marquise Goodwin and wife Morgan lost their baby due to pregnancy complications. In an Instagram post to fans, Goodwin explained that his son was prematurely delivered and asked for prayers for him and his family.
I've had some people who, death happens and they can't see anyone and they have to go home right away, and you totally understand that and respect it. And I've been around some people who that happens and they need to play the next day. They think that's what someone would want, and that's very important to them and it helps them. I know Marquise was hurting bad, real bad, and I know he will for a while, and I know his wife will too. To get him in here, I don't know how sure he was right away, because I think he was up long throughout the night, and then he got here, and Pastor Earl, who worked with him a lot and comforted him a lot, I think did a great job with him. By the time I was able to talk to Marquise, he was hurting, but he was adamant he wanted to play.
Now let's flash back to Sunday where Eli Manning and company squared off with San Francisco. Peyton Manning in attendance watching his brother as he tied him in consecutive career starts. Both teams starting off slowly until the second quarter when C.J. Beathard connects with Marquise Goodwin for the 83-yard touchdown pass. Eli would fire back, connecting with Evan Ingram for the 9-yard touchdown. And after that, it was all San Fran as they scored 21 unanswered points, making the final score Giants 21, 49ers 31. One person that we won't see back on the field this year for the 49ers is former quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick became known for protesting during the national anthem by refusing to stand and instead decided to kneel. While he does not have a team to call home at the moment, GQ is celebrating the man who became a movement. The Men's Magazine has dubbed Kaepernick as the Citizen of the Year for being a strong symbol of activism and resistance.
And with just 2 games left in the regular season, Tennessee fired 5th-year head coach Butch Jones. Motivation behind the decision could be a number of things. The 50-17 loss to Missouri, losing to Kentucky for the second time in 33 years, or maybe the fact that the Vols are winless against their SEC opponents.
I met with Coach Butch Jones to discuss the future of the football program, and I informed him of my decision that he stepped down as the University of Tennessee's head football coach. Transitions like this are never easy for anyone involved, and I'm grateful for the way Coach Jones, Barb, Alex, Adam, and Andrew have poured their hearts and souls into this community and into the improvement of our football program over the past 5 years. I know that Coach Jones will be successful as he moves forward in his career, and I know that Tennessee fans join me in thanking the entire Jones family for their service and dedication to this community and to the University of Tennessee.
Cody Bellinger of the Dodgers took home the Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year for the National League. Bellinger was a surprise breakout performance for the Dodgers this year after taking over for Adrian Gonzalez at first base. Bellinger broke the NL rookie record with 39 home runs this season. And for the American League, the Yankees' Aaron Judge claimed the title of the Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year. Judge took home this honor after leading the American League in homers, runs, walks, and slugging. Judge's 52 homers and 127 walks set a new record in Major League Baseball entirely. Judge is the 9th Yankee to win the Rookie of the Year award.
Switching gears to the hardwood, Duke showed the nation why they're worthy of their preseason ranking. After suffering from an eye injury in the first half, freshman phenom Marvin Bagley left the game after just 10 minutes of play. Senior Grayson Allen stepped up and led the Blue Devils to a 7-point win over number 2 Michigan State and notched a high 37 points in the process. Other key players included Wendell Carter Jr. and Trayvon Duval, who both claimed double-doubles, helping Coach K improve to a 12-1 record against the Spartans. And the Kentucky Wildcats took on the Kansas Jayhawks in a top 10 matchup in Chicago. The game lived up to its expectations as the Wildcats and Jayhawks went toe-to-toe throughout the entire first half as the Jayhawks entered the break with a 1-point lead. Kentucky freshman guard Kevin Knox led UK with 20 points, but it wasn't enough. Late in the game, with the Jayhawks holding on to a small lead, the Wildcats were forced to foul. Kansas would hit their free throws late and hold on to a 65-61 victory. Abduko Azubuike had 13 points and 8 rebounds for the Jayhawks. And Marcus Mariota rallies the Titans to secure a 24-20 win in Tennessee. Cincinnati took its only lead of the game on a 70-yard score from Dalton to Green before the Titans fired back with a 73-yard drive, topped off with a 7-yard TD pass to end the game. The 6-3 Titans are in the midst of their longest winning streak since 2009 and are looking to build on their record tonight against Pittsburgh.
All right, now we take a trip down to Broadway as the Predators took on the Washington Capitals. Moving forward in the action in the 11th minute, Craig Smith with a deflection that ends up in the line, and the Nets Pred lead 1-0. Then Roman Josi plays the puck off as board shots as Nick Bonino redirects for the goal. Washington would answer in the second period with 2 of their own goals, but then Flip Forsberg would put an exclamation point on the game with the unassisted goal. Both teams go back and forth until the final horn. Predators win 6-3.
Up next, we take a look at high school football in the Bluegrass, and we see which teams are regional bound.
And 2 crosstown teams square off. Find out who moves on next.
Beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help.
You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Well, Katie, it's that time of the show where we turn our attention to football in the Bluegrass. Now, after losing to Logan County 13-12 in the regular season, Hopkinsville is returning to the field with a vengeance. And, well, they sent the Cougars home with their tails between their legs.
That's right. Sophomore quarterback Javier Bland led the Tigers with 5 touchdown passes, totaling 169 yards on the night. The game ended with a score of 43-8, sending Hopkinsville to the regional finals.
Now let's take a look at Franklin Simpson, who extended their winning streak to 7 by upending the Maroons of Madisonville North Hopkins. 62-6 was the final score, and that was in the second round of Class 4A playoffs. The Wildcats outgained the Maroons 323-9, with the total offense coming to over 300 on the ground.
And the Wildcats improved their record to 9-3 on the season and have outscored their opponents 105-12 in the playoffs and advanced their third straight region championship game. It's the third round of the playoffs, and we're down to the final 8 teams of each class in the Commonwealth. The Region 1 championships in Class 4A will be a showdown between the 9-3 Wildcats of Franklin Simpson and the 6-6 Tigers of Hopkinsville. The Wildcats are looking for their second straight regional championship.
Now, obviously, both teams are looking to win and advance to the semi-state game and just get one step closer to the ultimate goal of playing on Kroger Field down in Lex.
Now Temple, as wild as that is, a 4A championship could be. The 5A regional championship is going to have the city split again. Let's start with South Warren and Christian County. The Spartans came into this one with a weaker record at 9-2, while Christian County hadn't lost a game all season.
And Jacob Lacey and that South Warren defense stood their ground all night long. They didn't even allow 60 rushing yards on the night. And on the offensive side, the two Gavin Spurrier and Christian Wynn picked up nearly 320 yards combined. Spurrier found the end zone on the ground twice and threw it there once for a Spartan win, 24-6.
And the Spartans knew that if they won that game, they'd be taking on some familiar competition. Greenwood Bowling Green, round 2. This time it was at Donaldson Stadium, and even though they lost 49-19 earlier in the season, the Gators weren't looking to go down easy. The Greenwood defense held the Purples to just 2 scores in the first half, but the high-powered Purple offense was just too much for Jake Sampson and the Gators D. Dejon Blakely absolutely took off for 102 yards and 3 touchdowns. Zion Kenner exploded for a $115 and 2 touchdowns. And oh yeah, Bo Buchanan still hasn't thrown an interception. 12 games, 24 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Bowling Green took that one 42-21.
And now the Bowling Green Purples are going to host South Warren on their own turf tomorrow night. So what are we expecting from that game? Well, it's one easy bet on this one. South Warren's going to be hungry after looking a little bit rattled in the matchup earlier on in the season. So maybe they'll come back with a much more composed Purple team and we can have a better game.
That's right, and tomorrow's winner moves on to play either South Oldham or Covington Catholic in the state semifinals next week.
And coming up, we take a closer look at the legacy of 2 WKU players as they're about to leave the Hill.
Our jaw dropper this week landed #1 on SportsCenter's top 10 plays of the week. Coming up.
Sweetheart, think about your future. Jeff over there did, and just look at him. He saved up, bought a house, he's got a beautiful wife, they even had a fancy pants destination wedding, and oh, they had a baby! Ah! Smart and handsome, ooh la la. Now, I've been saving these frames for pictures of my future grandbabies for years, and the shopping sprees on organic clothing and telephone cases is not helping you save for a family. Oh, gracious! Look at that! He's a model! Oh. I bet you he's putting all that money right into a 401k or his baby's college fund. And his teeth are so straight. See how good saving can look at feedthepig.org. Feed the pig.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression. my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Bowling Green Parks and Rec is starting a unique opportunity for athletes. Reporter Dee Dee Green takes us to see more.
Soon to be graduate from Western Kentucky University, I was born with a disability called cerebral palsy.
The Bowling Green Parks and Recreation team has come together to create the wheelchair basketball program. With a grant from the Department of Veteran Affairs, they are able to help people like Dathan Meredith enjoy their love for the game.
To be able to, be involved in the sport that many people in the family like, but not to be held back by the fact I'm in a wheelchair, I'm like, well, that's awesome. I mean, why? What's stopping you now? Now you can, it'll make all the basketball fans in the family proud because even now I can get involved with it.
For Dathan, he uses basketball to connect with his family and is getting better every day.
Whether you have a disability or not, anyone is able to be involved and compete in this community sport.
Cameron Levis has high hopes for this program moving forward in the community.
We really hope to again continue to bring something unique to Bowling Green, and not just Bowling Green, but South Central Kentucky. Hopefully host some wheelchair basketball tournaments, wheelchair tennis tournaments, and maybe even one day have our own team if we're able to find some people who could play competitively that have those eligible disabilities. So a lot of goals, a lot of vision, and we're just excited to be a part of it.
The wheelchair basketball program meets on Mondays at the Coomer Little Recreation Center from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. For The Extra Point, I'm Dee Dee Green.
This week's Heroes on the Hill are no strangers to our show. WKU volleyball studs Alyssa Kavanaugh and Jessica Lucas repeated as Conference USA's Player of the Year and Setter of the Year. Kavanaugh collected the league's top player title for her junior and senior campaign, while Lucas has claimed the top setter award for 3 consecutive years. Both women have earned all conference selections for the past 4 years and have collected 3 AVCA All-American honors prior to this season. Congrats, ladies.
Now let's take a look at our jaw dropper. Jake Omer goes for a 3-point shot and it is saved by Dwight Colby, dunks it in, nothing but net, Diddle Arena. They go on to win that game 83-53, 30-point lead.
Now it's that time of the show where we're just going for 2, so let's get it, Katie. What do you think is going to happen with the MTSU game?
Yeah, we've got a big game tomorrow. The Tops took on MTSU last year. They only won by 1 point, and they're both at that 5-5 record, so there's no telling what'll happen.
It was 44-43 last year. I'm expecting this game to be close just for the sole fact that so much is on the line for both teams. We're talking about a bowl game. Western's gone to one for the past 7 years, and I really think they'd like to return for an 8th. It could be Hawaii. It could be Boca Raton. We don't really know yet. Maybe even return to the Bahamas Bowl, but how do you think the quarterback matchup's going to be?
MTSU, they lost their quarterback for a few games in this season, but he returned, and they won those last 2 games since he returned. So we really don't know what's going to happen. And, I think Mike White is really going to be essential for this game, and it's going to be a tough matchup between those quarterbacks.
And say you have big passing offenses on both sides, and that was Brent Stockstill, and she's not wrong. It was 3-5, I believe, and as soon as he returned to the game, it's 5-5, and they are hungry for this win.
That's right. Now let's switch over to my favorite sport personally, WKU basketball. All right. We have 1 win, 1 loss on the table. What do you think that they're going to go on to do this season?
I mean, it's Rick Stansbury. I really don't know what he's going to do.
Right. He recruited some great faces, but that's all the time we have for tonight. As always, Temple, for your last show, it's up.
And it's good.
Have a good night.